Hello, my name is John Armour, and I am the advisor for NEIU's Graduate Certificate in TESOL. The purpose for this presentation is just to give you a brief overview of what the program looks like and to provide you with information on who to contact if you have additional questions or if you have need for other information. With that, I'm going to jump right into the presentation and we can talk through how the program is set up, what you can do with it, and so forth. So, the Graduate Certificate in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, or more commonly just shortened to TESOL, has been around at NEIU for a long time, for several years. Probably 8, I suspect, and that's on the built into the legacy of a couple of decades of MA in TESOL. So we've got a lot of experience. Questions first comes up oftentimes, what can I do with a certificate in TESOL? And our graduate certificate provides a wide variety of career options for you. Some of those opportunities would include adult English language instruction in the US. It could also be children, but I don't want to confuse people to think that they can use this certificate to get into the public school system. It doesn't work that way, but there may be places where children or youth are learning English as a second language, and you'd certainly be prepared for that. Also, English language instruction abroad. A number of people who come into the program have a goal of going offshore and teaching English in Asia, in different places in Europe. We've had people in Uganda. And so there's a wide variety of places that you might participate in the instruction of English as a second language. There are also things outside of the classroom: program administration, curriculum development, working in the publishing field, and even working with government agencies. The array of opportunities is very broad. Now, in addition to talking about what you can do with it, let's look at what the coursework entails. The coursework for the certificate in TESOL is 18 credit hours, or as it shows here, it's 6 courses. These are very specific courses, no electives or anything, just 6 basic courses. The first of which on the list here is Principles of Linguistics. So you study the way that English works and compare that as you're going through the course with how other languages work as well. There's a course called Structure of Modern English, TESOL 420, which is largely a course in a formal study of English grammar and the way the language is built, as well as taking that out and using that information to teach with. So it's focusing on formal for you and preparing you to take that formal information, be able to move it on to others. It might surprise you to find that if you're very good at English, you've been speaking it all your life, you know how to use the grammar rules, but use and instruction are 2 very different things. What you learned or acquired automatically did not prepare you probably to be able to express why things work the way they do. That's what TESOL 420 is meant to do. We've also got a couple courses on instruction. First, there's 414, which is the theories of teaching English as a second language, and that's followed by the techniques of teaching English as a second language. Now, as I mentioned before, teaching adults in the US has kind of been the focus, or at least the nominal focus, of the certificate in TESOL. And so there are 2 courses specifically designed for adults. One of those is TESOL 406, Adult Needs, Design and Assessment, where you look at what do adults do differently or need differently from younger students. How do you design courses around that, and how do you assess their learning? And then there's what's called the Experiential Preparation for Teaching ESL, TESOL 465, which we shorten to the Practicum, which is about 30 credit hours like all the other courses, but it's essentially putting you in an adult classroom for approximately 64 hours, where you begin by observing, move on to participating, and then move on to delivery of instruction. So it gives you some practical experience before you get out of the program. There is a graduation requirement that says that you have had 9 credit hours of college level language study, or that you can demonstrate proficiency in a non-English language. Remember, this is a graduation requirement, not an entry requirement. So if you haven't taken 9 whole credit hours, that doesn't hold you back from going ahead and getting in. It's probably important to point out that the reasoning behind having that 9 credit hours is not that you are proficient in a foreign language or a particular foreign language, but that you have experienced the trouble and the angst of learning a new language, so that you've got some empathy for your students. One of the things that you'll have to do as you go through the program is maintain a 3.0 grade point average and receive no more than 2 C's. And then finally, completion of coursework. The 6 courses here needs to be followed by or added to that coursework is a graduation project. That graduation project is a 15 to 20 page reflective paper on what you've learned and how it will make you a better professional in the field. And you can look at this and notice that what you've got to do is complete all of these requirements within 6 years. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of how you go about this. But 6 courses, grade point average of 3.0 or above, 9 credit hours of college level language study, and you can take some high school language study. Usually 2 years of high school study is equal to a year of college level language study. And then finally, the capstone paper, which 15 to 20 pages may sound like a lot, but it's broken down into 5 very well-defined groupings for you to organize things. All right. So I mentioned flexibility and the fact that you have 6 years to complete the program. Interestingly, the original program was set up to be something that could be completed in a single year of study. And initially, the first few people who went through it decided to get it done in 1 year, and it was obviously capable. They were able to do that. But since then, a lot of people are much more interested in only taking 1 course at a time. And so they try to extend this out over 2 or even 3 or 4 years. Now, the plan of study for a year would require you to take 2 courses in the fall. TESOL 402 and 414 would be the recommended courses. In the spring, you would take TESOL 420 and TESOL 410, the grammar course and the techniques course. And then note that in term 3, that would be in the summer. And there are 2 classes that currently are only offered in the summer. That can change, but for right now, they're offered in the summer. One is for adult needs and curriculum design. The other one is the practicum. Note, this is a sample plan of study. You do not need to finish it in 1 year. Most people choose not to do that. Other sequences are available and other courses are available in the summer besides just 406 and 465. So we had flexibility in mind when we designed this program. One advantage and one of those flexibilities is this is a 6-course, 18-hour curriculum instead of a full master's degree that is twice as long. Classes can be taken on a 1-year schedule, a 2-year, or even longer schedule if you choose to, depending on what the rest of your life entails and what your work schedule may be. Interestingly, and I didn't mention this before, but a very large part of the students that come into the program, whether it's this one or the MA, are career changers. And with the certificate, many of these are people preparing to retire and looking for what they're going to do when they're done. So these classes can be taken across a fairly flexible, long schedule if necessary. The classes are offered in the evening, so you don't have to worry about daytime classes getting in the way of your work or life schedule. And the classes are offered in multiple formats. We've got formats that are in person in the classroom. We've got remote, which is kind of in person via Zoom. We've got online, which is fully asynchronous, completely online study as you would expect it to be. And then we've got hybrid, which could be in person or remote hybrid, where you have part of the time meeting as a class and part of the time working on your own. But, you know, depending on the semester, different formats are offered for different courses, but it is pretty flexible. And here is, in my mind, the most important advantage to NEIU's program is the fact that we built this as almost a part of the MA program. And you can take all of the coursework that is in the certificate program and transfer it or apply it in full without losing any credits, time, or money to go to the MA program. And you can either finish the certificate program and add the MA on at the end. Some people do that, so they get an interim credential. And others, somewhere along the line, just decide that they want to transfer over to the MA. And I'll tell you that recently it's been over 50% of the people who get into the certificate actually roll over to the MA before it's all said and done. They get in, they realize they want a short commitment in terms of 6 courses and 18 credit hours. They find they really like the coursework in the field, and so they move on to finish up the MA. And it's all up to you. It is totally optional. There is no requirement to do the MA. It's just a very valuable option for you. Finally, I want to close by providing you with some points of contact. You can either contact me directly, John Armour, or you can contact the TESOL office. My office is in Lake-Wellessa Hall in room 3069, and the TESOL office is in Lake-Wellessa Hall 3062, just a couple of doors apart. You can always write me at j-armour@neiu.edu, or you can write the TESOL department at tesol@neiu.edu. And then you've got 2 different phone numbers there. My phone number in the office ends in 4536. The TESOL office is 773-442-5870. So with all of that, I hope that you found most of the information that you're interested in. I want to encourage you to contact me or the TESOL office if you have additional questions or you want additional information to talk more about the content of the program or anything else that comes up. I also want to thank you for your interest in our program, and I look forward to talking to you and or reviewing and accepting your application should you choose to join the program. And with all of that, I'll just bid you farewell, and once again, thank you for your interest.